So welcome everybody to the Malvern Festival of Innovation special virtual launch event, which will all become clear in a minute. Good to see so many familiar faces. How many came to the 2012 Festival of Innovation? Who can remember that? Yeah, I see. Well done. Good. So here we are now in 2024. This is actually the 13th edition, because obviously the way it works with numbers. And you'll find out a bit tonight about why we've decided to go virtual and what that means. So as always with the festival, first of all, welcome, thank you for coming, but also Okay, there we go. Right, so off we go again. So thank you very much for coming, everybody, and welcome to the Festival of Innovation. Good to see you all. And the important thing is the sponsors. So over the years, we've always had sponsors that have kindly supported what we do. This year, D-Risk, who have been long-term supporters based at Science Park. Thank you, Colin and Nick, for that. Malvern Hills Science Park also chipped in over the years. Many of you know the Science Park, some of you are based there, and the Worcestershire Local Enterprise Partnership. And Nigel from the LEP is also going to say a few words in a minute. And then we've got some bronze sponsors. Mainly because we're doing a family day on Saturday, which involves STEM outreach to kids. And so British Computing Society, or the Chartered Institute for IT, as they're called now, Institute of Mechanical Engineers and the IET, all sponsoring the Saturday event. And then Worcestershire Ambassadors have kindly chipped in as well. They've, in the past, sponsored various events, particularly the outreach like the family day, but they're also involved in this virtual rendering that we're going to talk about. So without the sponsors, of course, it couldn't happen. So thank you very much for that. And then what I wanted to do is welcome Nigel up to the stage. He's going to talk very briefly about the Local Enterprise Partnership here in Worcestershire and the context of what it's doing with innovation and entrepreneurship and promoting business. So thank you, Nigel.
Thank you. Which came up pressing before I messaged.
Yeah, so you can press.
Can I use a clicker?
You can use it.
Oh, goodness.
Hopefully it will work.
Hopefully it work. Can I just try it quickly?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Good. Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nigal Hall. It says it there, so I can read it. It says Nigel for some, but that's all right.
Very important.
Yeah, it is very important. At least I remember my name was good. Firstly, I just want to say before we get started on the LEP stuff, can I just say a personal thank you to this gentleman in the corner here, Adrian, because it's this county and its innovation attitude, I'll call it that, I think is driven by a whole community of people. But it's people like Adrian that make this stuff happen. And I'm very proud because I've only just come back to the county, even though I've lived here for 30 odd years of my life. I know no one, frankly, because I've never worked here. But the first thing that struck me was there's brains like this around and ambition and passion around a subject called innovation, which is very passionate to me as well. And I just want to say thank you, Adrian. Yeah. Thank you on behalf of everyone. And hopefully you've got a few allies around, including me these days. So let's keep going. As it says there, I'm a non-executive director for, and I'm on the board of LEP with Paul and a number of other people around the community of Worcestershire. What am I going to talk about today? I'm going to talk a little bit about innovation and what I would like to share with you is the ambition for the region in terms of innovation and what I think we can do about that. And more importantly, I would like to continue the great work Adrian's doing, and let's get a bit of more of a community across the whole of Worcestershire County and see what damage we can do, as they say. The LEP's recently done a bit of a review. Sorry, I'll stand a little bit further away. Probably can't see. But the ambition really that we've got in the LEP as a whole is to do three things. One, to build out a greater level of skills and competencies in the region for the ambitions that we've got. Two, to also build out a better business support model for all the businesses here. And then thirdly, which is a bit of a new strand to the whole strategy, Paul, I think you'd agree, which is to try and put some more time, effort and commitment into the subject of innovation and what that means for the region. So those are our three priorities. And as you will or may not know, the purpose behind the LEP is to help grow the local economy in the whole of Worcestershire in whatever way it possibly can through those contributions. Okay. So if anyone wants to know more and more about the LEP, please come and grab me or Paul, or there's a couple of others in the room as well. So next thing up is what is our ambition now? We've set this out as part of the agenda. It revolves really around three basic things. And this is really on the left-hand side is a picture of what good looks like, as I'm sure some of you will probably know from various other ecosystems, not only in the UK, but elsewhere in the world. And there are things that I'm very familiar with. Number one, you need a great talent generator. That's usually the best universities in the region. Two, you need to build out lots of tubes, enablers. We have some people from one of those great enablers that we've got called BetaDen, which is the accelerators and the incubators that generate those talent pools into real businesses. And thirdly, you need a fantastic funding model that supports those great entrepreneurs as they go through those funnels and they come out the other side. And the funding model is not just about finding the best VC, but it's also creating the right environments. And some of the stuff that you do, Jack, with the environment, it's important that you bring all those things together in the right place at the right time. For us, and I'll talk a little bit about the specifics next, one of the key things on our agenda at the moment is to think about how we build a community of people that are going to help support this and get this to work. So we've got a big ambition. We've said that we want the vision of Worcestershire to be a thriving hub for innovation in the future. We want to look at building out new technologies. We want to look at bringing in some inward investment where we think that can help us on our journey. And we want to try and foster some interesting things that I don't think we've put our minds to recently, which is a bit more of an all-inclusive culture, a bit more of a diverse culture than probably the one we've got. I think that might mean that we want to attract other people to come into our county to try and help develop this model. And hopefully we can try and bring them in on the form of some inward investment models and various things to bring people to what is a fantastic local county that we have. And we're a very diverse county. You know, we've got a lot of different aspects to that. And one of the challenges we've got in building this strategy has been, where do we place our bets to help the innovation model work best? We'll come on to that in just a moment. Any questions on that, please? Okay. So what are we aiming at? Well, as I said, there's three big areas there. And you can see at the bottom there just a bit of a clue about what we're trying to do, which is, in the case of the enablers, we want to increase the numbers of incubators and accelerators. Very recently, BetaDen has added to the portfolio by putting an incubator in place, which is scheduled to go out of the kiln in Worcester. And we want to do more and more of those. We're looking at knowledge transfer partnerships. And on the left-hand side, in terms of talent generators, we're getting involved with the university at the moment to try and look at more KTPs, as they're called. And at the same time, we want to build out the funding capabilities, which is to try and get more investment coming into the region, whether it's through VC networks, funding bodies. But more importantly, what I think will get us there is creating an angel network that will help the companies that we need to put through those tubes that I mentioned earlier. So what's the progress so far? New angel network. We're just in the throes now of starting to identify people. If you are in the room and you have either been an angel investor yourself in any way, shape or form, or are interested in becoming part of that founding community, please let me know. We've got a group now forming of interested parties. Many of those are fledgling angels in the sense that they've never invested before, but are very, very keen to learn about it. But for those that want to be participant in that, please either grab me or send me an email through LinkedIn or whatever, a message there, or directly through to the email address at the end of this slideshow. Okay, that's directly to the LEP if necessary, Luke Willits. The other thing that we're looking at is we're doing a complete review of the assets. You know, what have we got in terms of innovation assets around the region? So again, the LEP management team, Luke and Gary, are looking at that. We've also started to look at what we're going to do in terms of STEM, right back at the low end, you might say, the kids' end. And that's really important to me because I'm a particular passionate subject matter around, I think we need to do more work on getting more female founders into tech startups and growing those as best we can. That's going to be around bringing young girls on the journey as well, right from the grassroots. So we've got some things going on in different places on that. We've got some research going on in the region, which we've done in collaboration with the Chamber to try and understand more and more about what's there, what's not there, and what more we should be doing to try and change the arena, not only for ourselves, but for maybe people around us. And as I mentioned earlier, we're just going through our 8th program of activity with BetaDen, and there'll be others. And I'm hoping that over time we'll be able to have more incubators and accelerators, perhaps even with specialist subjects, as I call it, where we might have particular accelerators and incubators around a particular segment or sector or industry, maybe agri-tech or something like that. So the ambitions are high. I'll probably be dead in my grave by the time we see some of this stuff, but nonetheless, let's keep going, and hopefully we'll be able to make some traction on some of these issues. And as I mentioned there, we've obviously landed our first incubator. There'll be more, I hope, and I'm going to encourage the university to try and do some more in that space as well, because so far I think they would acknowledge that there's been more work to do in that one. But some of those conversations are turning into positive action at the moment, so that's good. And then recently, and even yesterday, Clive was there, Linda was there, we did some AI forums and one or two other things as well to try and help the communities learn more about what it is and what, more importantly, it's going to mean for them and how can they engage with it. So a lot going on. I think it's fair to say also there's a lot of other things going on. Even this morning I was at an event in the centre of at Six Ways in Worcester around other business activities in the space. So there's lots of pieces. We just need to try and bring those pieces together in the ambition that we've set. So what do I need? I need helpers, the same as probably Adrian needs helpers when he does these things. What's important, I think, for us is that people who've got a genuine interest in this, whether it's they're interested in participating in the angel group that we're forming and building, whether it's getting involved in building an innovation network, which I don't think we have very much of. We've got lots of different pockets. But those are the big two things that I would like to encourage, and I am encouraging the LEP management to take on board, and let's try and build that out. And it will be a Worcestershire-wide thing. And one of the great things about what Adrian's been doing here and what he's about to launch is that we'd like to sort of try to make sure that that great practice is being spread elsewhere in the county. So thank you for listening. That's me, and that's also the little piece about how hopefully we can start to change the game in terms of the ambitions for the region. Hope that helps. Thank
you. Thank you very much, Nigel. That's really, really good and helpful. So,
excuse me.
That's okay. So, tonight we're launching our virtual Festival Innovation platform, and the background really as to why on earth we want to do this. Over the years, we have put on the festival in various venues around Malvern. As many of you will have been to them. And so, for example, back in 2016, there were quite a few venues. We actually came up with the Innovation Get Around map, which obviously looks a little bit like the underground. And we actually put loads of stickers on the floor and had color-coded trails to get you between all the different venues. But of course, when you put something like this on, it lasts, in this case, about a week, and then it's all over. All the money's been spent. There's not really a legacy to go back and revisit the companies that you spoke to and everything. So this is all well and good, but it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and lasts, if you're lucky, a week. So we thought it must be a better way of promoting the festival and doing stuff in this modern age. And of course, COVID gave us an idea of what it's like to interact virtually. And so this, I think, is the step we're trying to go towards. Now, the other thing is, when we put on the events, for example, in the Malvern theatres, it costs quite a lot of money to hire the Malvern theatres for a day. And everybody spends money travelling and putting up their stands, and then it's all over again in a day. And in our case, these were pretty low budget stands. They were tabletops. But of course, many of you will also go to exhibitions where you spend a fortune for just a few days with some kind of shout scheme. So again, we think that there are other ways that we can do this and make the festival at least lead the way and do something slightly different. So what we've done is we've worked with VX in Worcester. Now, Roland, the CEO of VX, unfortunately can't be here, but we've got a few colleagues who have come along, and some of you have been working with them to put this together. So as you can see, this is the sort of fledgling beginnings of what we're doing. Anybody know where this is? Good, that's a start. So you can see that we're up on the hill right at the moment, and we've got the Science Park highlighted there and the Malvern Theatres highlighted there. And then actually this is Bloom Space, the Malvern Library, and the Enigma Business Park. And what you can do is, and you can do this yourself now, so virtual.festival-innovation.com is the web address. Now, of course, I had all this set up before the computer crashed, so just bear with me a minute. It should load up, but it's not. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it might take a few seconds to load up because I haven't cached it all now because it's all crashed. But what you can now do in your own time is go to a virtual rendering of, now it's not really the Malvern Theatres, it's our own sort of view of what a space for the festival is. You can go inside to the virtual hall. So again, it will take a few seconds to load because it hasn't cached. And you can listen to me. I'll let you do that again in your own time. And then you can get a bit of information about the festival, go into what's called the event hub. Again, just let it load. And this is trying to mimic at least a sort of an experience a bit like it was when you came to the festival. So one of the things you can do in the event hub, which is the space, is you can go into the auditorium. Now in the auditorium, we're going to hopefully over time build up resources that you can watch in your own time, but also when there's a live event going on, so here you are, look, so you can pretend that you're sitting watching the screen, and then if you watch a live stream, so when there's an event going on, this might not work. There I am live. And there I am live.
That's recursion.
So it goes on in the future. All right, let's try and get back out of it now. Hooray! Yeah. So the idea is that when we hold events in the future, either real ones like this or other virtual events, that you'll be able to come into the auditorium and watch them with other people around the country. I'll explain a bit more about that in a second. But the other thing you can do is go back into the event space, and then just like we had in the physical festivals, you can go into a virtual exhibition hall. And what we've done here is we've got some highly supportive early birds who have come on board and have worked with VEX, Phoebe and Jordan and the team, to create their own virtual stands in the exhibition hall. So, for example, D-Risk, who are also our sponsor, you can click on the D-Risk stand, and there's a baby neck. Excellent. And just like in a real exhibition, you can go in, find out about them. There are various hotspots to watch videos, download brochures, listen to Nick in this case, and then make contact through a contact form. And if it's a live event, like we're having today, and they've all been primed, people can be on the stand behind the scenes and receive real-time chat. So you can actually chat to the company online as well. And so if you're holding a hybrid event and you have a break in the middle, just as you would go off and chat to people in the real world, with the virtual exhibition now you can go off and chat to the virtual exhibitors. So you can see we've got variety here. So we've got Bloom Space. I won't go on them all. You can go and visit them yourself. Sutcliffe, who was also Duncan's here. Blockmark, Tom and myself. Beta Den, Worcestershire LEP, and the Worcester Hub, Business Hub, Malvern Hills District Council utilise. VEX have a slightly different stand, which demonstrates that you don't have to have a standard stand. There are other ways of putting together how it looks in the virtual world. And then Beta Den, I'll just click on Beta Den because you can obviously see, first of all, we've got a mini Donston. So Donston's there, but there's also information about that. And then what we've done with Beta Den is off to the side to showcase the current cohort. We have the smaller kiosk stands rather than the bigger mid-size stands. And these are like little posters, so you can look at each of the cohort companies, go to some information about them, again in your own time, and then find out what's going on. So somewhere there's a back, but there it is. And you can look all around the hall if you want. It's quite clever. There we are. Right. And then back in the hub, there. The other thing we've done is obviously thanked our sponsors there. On the bookshelf, we've got some books. So you can
the same one.
You can go here. Past speakers of the festival. You can buy some books from Amazon on people that we've had speaking. Interestingly, this one we've got for sale here tonight as well, if you're really interested. The innovation, non-bullshit innovation. And off to this side is Hall 2, which currently is unpopulated, and that kind of leads on to what I'll talk about in a second. But the other thing I wanted to show you is go back out to reception, back to the map, so you can navigate out back to the map. And then you saw that there was the science park, so you can actually go to the science park. You can go into the virtual reception of the science park, find out a bit more about what's on at the science park. And then you can also go to their name board of the companies, and the companies or organizations that have exhibited in the hall, you can go directly to it. So you can look at, say, de-risk based at the science park. You can click on the de-risk on the name board and it will take you straight to their exhibition stand. And there we are, we're back there again. So that's the science park. So, sorry, it's because I'll try not to press the map. So that's the virtual version of the Festival of Innovation. It's a beginning, we hope. So what else is there? Well, I mentioned we've got Hall 2. When we did the festival in the past, we actually had a lot of themed sessions. So we've covered things like advanced engineering, cybersecurity, environment and sustainability. One of the visions we have for this is that we have halls that are themed. So at the moment, when you go to the hall, it's a mixture of local companies and organizations. But in theory, we could have a cybersecurity hall, agri-tech hall, a hall of organizations that help businesses. So things like the business hub, lawyers, IP lawyers and accountants and so on. So there's a whole raft of opportunity there. And then the other thing is there's more we can do with the map. So in the real festival, we had a schools day at the Three County Showground. We have the family day at the library. We've obviously got businesses up here at the Witch. We've got businesses at Bloom Space. There are businesses in Enigma, and there's also the Blackmore Business Park. What would be really good is if we can start to populate these other virtual spaces. We can render receptions like we've done with the science park and link to businesses. And it would be really nice, for example, to have all the businesses in the science park linked to virtual exhibition stands, and likewise with Bloom Space and Which Innovation Centre. And the idea with the schools outreach is we get a lot of companies complaining about the lack of skills coming in the area and the recruitment problem that they have. And one of the keys to this, as Nigel was saying, is getting people involved in knowledge-based and STEM-based activities early on, so that that's the career they may pursue in the future. So there's no reason why we can't also have a virtual family day and a virtual schools day where we're promoting STEM in this virtual environment. So companies can come along with some STEM-based resources, careers information, and lower age groups can just be diverted into the Three County Showground rendering, for example, and explore that. So that's what we hope will happen over time. And I mentioned about the auditorium. The other thing would be really good is when you're holding an event in Malvern or in Worcestershire, and you have it in your own premises, we can stream it at the same time, and then other people can come and watch it as well. So we're hopefully going to have some streamed events working with Beta-Den, other events that the Worcestershire LEP puts on, and the Malvern Tech Network as well. And the whole idea about this is really to carry on what we've been trying to do with the festival anyway, which is help businesses grow increase their sales. Obviously, that's why a lot of businesses go to an exhibition, a trade stand, but also help those businesses that have started or want to start and scale. So we've always had content about that in the festival. As I've said, we want to promote STEM in general. And the whole idea with the Festival of Innovation in Malvern was to also promote Malvern and its ecosystem, its unique ecosystem of science and tech and innovation. But when we held the festival here in Malvern as a physical event, we actually had exhibitors come from all over the country. We've had University of Oxford, University of Nottingham, University of Surrey. We've had businesses, and particularly cybersecurity businesses, from all parts of the country, including Scotland. So there is no reason why the businesses that are exhibiting can't be from outside the area, just as you would in another physical expo. So that's what we hope to do. And as a result of that, even if they're coming from outside the area, they get to know the area in this virtual world. So it's kind of carrying on what we've been doing digitally. And one of the reasons for that is now it will run like this 24/7. You can just go and visit it whenever you want. You don't have to wait to the 5th of October and hope we put one on. So that's the idea. So the final message is, if you'd like to get involved, i.e. render your business or your venue, or you've got contacts that you would like to show so that they can render their business, that would be great. Also, if you're going to be streaming content, or at least having meetings where there is content we could stream, that would also be good. And then eventually we can build up a library of offline stuff that people can watch as well as the live things. So there we go. Thank you very much. That's it, Lord.